Hello grade 8s, welcome to another lesson. Today we're on order of operations with exponents. We've done quite a bit of work on order of operations, but I saved the exponent part till after we'd practiced exponents a bit. So reminding you, order of operations has a word BEDMAS. That reminds us the order in which we do the calculations or the operations in math. So B stands for brackets, and we're going to follow BEDMAS inside the brackets. And if there's more than one bracket, we'll work our way from left to right. E stands for exponents. Now, reminding you that this has a base of 2 and an exponent of 3. So the base is the number that is repeating, so the 2 is repeating, and the 3 tells us the number of times it repeats. Now, 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 times 2 is 8. So the 2 repeating 3 times in multiplication gives us an answer of 8. Moving on to the next letters of BEDMAS, we think of divide and multiply always together. So we're going to divide and multiply from left to right. The next is A and S, which is add and subtract, and we're going to add and subtract again from left to right. Okay, so if there's more than one, work your way from left to right. Let's go to our first example. Now, our first example here has a set of brackets. So we need to do the brackets first. So inside the bracket is a divide, and 40 divided by 2 gives you 20. Now I'm going to copy down the rest. 2 to the 2 comes down, and divide by 5 comes down. Now it's a little bit confusing if we don't understand what the 2 to the 2 is doing to the 20. When there's a number next to a bracket, it means multiply. So I'm going to carry the bracket down so that I remember that I need to actually multiply here. Okay, so now after brackets comes exponents. So I'll underline the exponent, and 2 is the base, and it's going to repeat 2 times. So 2 times 2 is what that means, and it's going to equal 4. Bringing down the rest, a 20 in a bracket, and then a divide by 5. So the next step is going to be to multiply and divide from left to right. So that means we're going to do the multiply first. And 40 times 20 equals 80. And then you're going to carry down the divide by 5. And lastly, 80 divided by 5 equals 16. So we'll circle our answer. The second example here is looking like a fraction. So we're going to have a top we need to solve. We're going to have a bottom we need to solve. And then we're going to need to divide the top by the bottom. Okay? So let's just ignore the bottom and look at the top. So on the top, we've got 2 exponents and a divide. So exponents go first. We'll go from left to right. So 10 squared means 10 times 10, which is 100. And then 5 squared means 5 times 5, which is 25. And there's a divide between them. And now 100 divided by 25 gives us 4. You're going to get 1 mark for solving the top. Now we'll move to the bottom. So on the bottom, we have this star, which can also mean multiply. And so we've got 2 exponents and a multiply. So we're going to do our exponents from left to right. So 1 to the 4th means 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. And that equals 1. 4 to the 1 just means 4 appears once. So that's going to equal 4. And there's a multiply between them. So the last step here is to multiply 1 times 4, which gives us 4. So another mark for solving the bottom. Now we need to divide. We take the top number, which is 4, and we divide it by the bottom number, which is 4. And 4 divided by 4 equals 1. So 1, 2, 3 marks for a question like that. Okay. The next part of the assignment that you're going to see is going to ask you to see how inserting brackets can change an answer. Okay, so how it's going to work, we're going to first solve the left side, and we have to show our work for that. And then we're going to solve the right side, and we're going to show our work for that. And the third is we're going to compare the left and the right side, and we're going to use either greater than, less than, or equal to symbols. Okay, and again, these are going to be out of 3 marks. So let's look at an example of this. So if you look at the left side, we've got 41 minus 4 squared plus 2 cubed. On the right side, we have 41 minus, there's a 4 squared plus a 2 cubed, but there's been a bracket that's been inserted there. So what will happen? Will that change the order and change the answer when we put a bracket? Okay, let's solve the left side. So no brackets, we're going to go to exponents. So there's 2 of them, and we'll work our way from left to right. So 4 squared means 4 times 4, which is 16. 2 cubed means 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So now I'm just going to bring down the rest. So we have 41 minus 16 plus 8. So now we're going to work our way from left to right with addition and subtraction. So we'll start with the subtraction. So 41 is going to subtract 6 or have 16 subtracted from it, and that gives us 25. Bring down the plus 8, and 25 plus 8 is going to equal 33. Okay? Let's look at the right-hand side now. So BEDMAS says brackets, so we have to do what's inside the bracket first. So there's 2 exponents and an addition. So again, we still need to do our exponents first. So 4 squared, we already know the answer over here. We'll just jump to that, which is 16. 2 cubed, we already know the answer from over here. That is 8. We'll put our bracket around it, our plus in between, and our 41 minus. So we've just done our exponents first. Now we need to finish what's in the bracket. So now it's going to be a little bit different. Here we did our subtract first on the left side. Here we're going to do our add first. So 16 plus 8, that gives us 24. Bring down the rest, so 41 minus 24. And when we subtract that, we'll see whether we get the same answer or not. So 41 minus 24 gives us 17. The left side was 33, the right side was 17. Now we need to compare them. So 33 is bigger than 17, and I think you remember from elementary school that the greater than symbols and less than symbols are used where the alligator eats the bigger number. So this is like an alligator's mouth, and it needs to be open towards the bigger number. Okay, so that's a greater than symbol. If we read this from left to right, 33 is greater than 17, so that's a greater than symbol. You're going to have 1 mark for the left, 1 mark for the right, 1 for the right comparison. Okay, so often when we add a bracket, it changes the order in which we do the calculation, and we'll get a different answer. Now, the third part of the order of operations questions you're going to see is where you must insert brackets to make the statement true. Now, again, you need to show your work for this. So let me show you what I mean here. So this question says 2 squared times 3 minus 2 squared plus 5 should equal 3. I'm telling you, all the questions in part 3 of the assignment will not work out true as they are. They need a bracket inserted to change the order. So let's just work it out the way it is. So no brackets, so we're going to move to exponents, and we'll go from left to right. So 2 squared means 2 times 2, which is 4. And same thing here, 2 squared means 2 times 2, which is 4. I'll copy down the rest, so that's a times 3 and a minus plus 5. Now, the next thing we need to do is multiply and divide from left to right. So there's only one multiply, so we'll do that now. So 4 times 3 is 12. Then we have a subtract 4 and a plus 5. So we'll do our add and subtract from left to right. So our subtract comes first. 12 minus 4 is 8. and then 8 plus 5 is 13, not 3. So now we need to think, okay, what can we do to change the order? And what you should be thinking is, what did we do last? Right? What would we normally do last? Well, adding and subtracting comes last. So put a bracket either around the add or subtract part and see if that will make it come out to be a true answer. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite the question over here. We're going to have 2 squared times 3 minus 2 squared plus 5. So I'm going to take a bracket and I'm going to put it around something I would normally do last. So in this case, we did the addition last. So I'm going to put a bracket around the addition and see if that works. Okay. So now, following BEDMAS, we have to do brackets first. And inside the bracket, we have an exponent. Now, we already know what 2 squared is. We've done it over here. So we'll just put the answer below. So 4 plus 5. That's still in a bracket, so we need to finish that bracket. So 4 plus 5 is 9. Now I'm going to bring down the rest. So I have a 3 minus in front, and I have a 2 squared in front of that, and I multiply. Now, BEDMAS after brackets says exponents. So we're going to go to the exponent next. So 2 squared means 4. Copy down the rest, 4 times 3 minus 9. Now we're going to multiply before we subtract, so 4 times 3 is 12, and then bring down the subtract, and 12 minus 9 does give us 3. So we did get the answer. So in fact, we figured out where the bracket should be. Now you may not get it on your first try. You may have to try it again. If it didn't work out around the addition, then I would choose to put it around the subtraction, the bracket, and see if that would come out with the right answer. Okay, one thing to remember on your assignment, the assignment is BEDMAS with exponents. The very last question, okay, on part 3, so the last question on part 3, you need 2 sets of brackets, okay? So if you make note of that, it will be less difficult for you to find the solution, okay? So on BEDMAS with exponents, the last question of part 3, you need 2 sets of brackets. All right, ladies and gentlemen, take care. Hope to see you soon.